Welcome to the Fam Jam team call. It is November 4th, the first team call of the month, which seems crazy to me, but I'm super excited. Tonight, we actually had a guest speaker lined up who is unable to be on the call. So we're going to switch it up a little bit. I had a couple suggestions come through from a couple of our coaches today on what they want to talk about, but I'm really going to have this more of an open like Q&A for everybody, and we can just kind of chit chat about a lot of the things that are happening in our business, where you might be feeling stuck, how we can help you move forward. And you can gain perspective from a lot of the people who are on this team. So before we do any of that, I want to kick it over for recognition. I'm going to share my screen. I have the monthly board from October. Can you guys see that okay? I froze there. Yes, we can see that. Okay. So massive congratulations. I'll make it smaller just in case anyone can't see that. Massive congratulations to Becca, who ended up being the leader on the leaderboard with SC 14 last month. Katie locking in SC 10, Trish with SC 10, Shorty with SC 8. And SC2 on her husband's account. And then, of course, everyone else who locked in SC5. And I just have to say, October was like a really hard month for a lot of people. So like, I am insanely impressed with our team. It normally is like one of the slower months across the board for the entire company. And you guys rocked it out. So massive congrats to everyone here. There's people in the waiting room. We'll let them in. If there's anyone else that has recognition, though, if you want to unmute yourself, you can totally unmute yourself and shout out your coaches.
I did it last week, and I know she's not on the call and on the robot computer. So if I come in really robot-y, I'm sorry. Am I coming in robot-y? I'm probably
You're a robot, but we can get what you're saying.
Should I stop talking? Am I a robot? Okay, maybe I can talk slower. Yeah, it doesn't make your connection unstable, so I'm just gonna go with it. I gave a shout out last week to Teresa Westrick. I actually think she's at Bible study, but Teresa has been like super consistent in. She started her first free group with the 5-day crock pot thing, and she does a live every morning. And it's super hilarious. If you're not following Teresa, you need to follow Teresa because she's hilarious and she's just so lovely. So go do that if you're not already. And I'm sorry if that came in all robotish.
Okay. She literally unmuted like 5 minutes ago and it was still talking. But I think we got it. Teresa, go follow her. Amazing Lives free group in the Crockpot. It's amazing. I love her too. She's amazing.
I'll go. Okay, she's not on the call. I'll tell you why she's not on the call, but I wanted to give a massive, massive shout out to Kiara, who earned her diamond back. And I know that means a lot to her. She has been hustling so hard over the last little bit, and I've just seen it, and I've seen a shift in her. And so I really felt like she needed some recognition just for the work that she's been doing. And she's not on the call because she's on a coach opportunity call of her own right now. So she's just really honing in on who her audience is and who she wants to work with her, and she's getting very clear on that, and I think that that's huge and massive. So I'm really, really proud of her for earning that back. I wanted to give a big shout out to Julia, who I found out randomly had surgery. I was like, what? Like, I think I literally in caps was like, what? Question mark, question mark, question mark. But she showed up in her stories today and shifted a little bit. She can't work out for a little bit. And in her stories, she talked about following nutrition and meditation and having people and basically saying like, guys, if you can't work out, it's okay. You can still join us. We have nutrition and we have meditation. And I think that that really is showing the value in what we have to offer and really helping people understand that they don't have to work out and still join us. So that was big. Um, Carmelina, I wanted to shout her out just because she is working her butt off. And I think that it needs to be recognized. Like, she literally had 3 VIP members go active within a few hours. So it just shows that she's putting in the work and she has goals, and her stories have been amazing, and her posts, like, so powerful. She's gotten super clear on who she's talking to. And she has so many different groups of people she can talk to, but she was really clear today in who she was talking to, and it really came through in her post, and that's who she is. So I'm really happy that she's getting clear on that. That's big. And I wanted to welcome Rachel. She's not on the call. She's like brand new and just working through the handbook. So just in case she happens to catch this recording later, I did want to welcome my new coach, Rachel, who I literally met just by inviting her to the 30-day breakaway Zoom workout that we did, and she dove right in, and now she's decided to coach. So never underestimate the power of just inviting random people, because she's amazing. So I just wanted to welcome her.
Welcome, congrats, and amazing. Finding clarity in how you post and the person that you're speaking to when you're posting is massive. So I love that. Anyone else? No. I want to give a huge shout out to Steph. Steph got like way out of her comfort zone this week and started inviting. And she really held herself accountable. And I just want to give you a massive shout out for that, because it is a big deal. And she has someone on the coach opportunity call tonight as well. So huge shout out to you. That is massive. And that is like one of the biggest things that people struggle with in the beginning of their business, is actually inviting people. And then once you do it, you're kind of like, oh, that wasn't so bad. But it definitely is like a scary thing. So huge shout out to you. I just want to say congrats on that. That was awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Also wanted to give a big welcome to Nick. Nick is on his first team call. Nick is a boss in our challenge groups. And we're so excited that he's on the team with us. He is ready to slay. So welcome, Nick. I wanted to give a huge shout out to everyone who completed their 5K with 30-day breakaway. You guys slayed it. We're doing ours on Friday. But there's just, I don't know, there's something to be said. I saw so many of you who are not runners who went like all in on that program, even though you were super hesitant to do so, and really proved to yourself that you're able to do this, and you were able to do something that was like completely outside of your comfort zone. And your business grows in like massive strides when you are taking your personal journey to the next level. And so I just wanted to give all of you guys a huge shout out for that. I thought it's just so cool to watch you guys run those 5Ks, and the times, geez, people setting the bar high. I gotta like get my butt in gear for Friday. But yeah, massive shout out for that. There's so many things that I could shout out. I just want to say, like, you guys are rocking it. I am like feeling you guys like really leaning into the team even more than ever. And it feels cool. I can see so many of you like really rising and getting through the struggle of September and October, which are usually pretty slow months for us in this business. So I love it. Anything else before we go? I think we are good. Any other recognition though? All right, perfect. I am going to, we'll guide this a little bit, but we'll definitely allow the conversation just kind of go wherever you guys need it to go based on where your struggles are. I got feedback today that people are looking for some strategies in terms of overcoming objections. That was a big one. And time blocking was another really big one as well. And I think I saw a lot of head nods when I said time blocking. So those are the two that I really just want to focus on right now. And just kind of like navigating through a couple of strategies that I have. And I know when we get into objections, we'll just kind of leave it open. So if you have found yourself in a situation where, you know, I'll bring up an objection, or you can share an objection that you received, and then we can all just kind of share how we respond to that and what it looks like, because I want to normalize objections. One, we all get them. Like every single person gets objections and they're all pretty much the same. So it makes it easier for us that they're all the same when we start sharing our stories and how we talk through that conversation with people. Um, but before we get there, let's do time blocking. Let's talk about time blocking, what this looks like, and what it actually is. So, I never used to time block. I always just was like, oh, I'll make a to do list and I'll get to my to do list and I'll check things off and it'll be great. And I would make a to do list and I would add things to my to do list that I already had completed just so I could check them off and make myself feel better about the fact that I could check something off my to do list before I actually did any work that day. And then I also found that I would get to the end of the day and I had completed nothing on my to do list that actually drove me closer to my goals. I was completing everything on my to do list that was the busy work around the house. It was just like the small things that really were insignificant. And it was the stuff that I was used to doing. And when you start a business and you're starting something new or you're reaching for a new goal in your business, it's going to take something new, which means you're going to have to start doing things you haven't done before in order to get to that goal. And that's really where time blocking I found was so effective, because I was blocking out time to do the activities that I was avoiding in the past. And so this is kind of why I feel like time blocking for me was really essential. On top of that, if you look at the time you have in your day and where you're wasting your time, I guarantee you will find quite a few moments and pockets of time where you could pull it in and you could be way more effective. So, something that I like to do, I actually can share this in the team page again, but it should be in there. There is a time tracker. So, if you're finding that the day is just wasting away and you're not actually doing the things that you want to do, there's a time tracker in there. So, just track for a whole week, like figure out what you do in a week, figure out what it is that, when you wake up, how long does it take for you to get to wherever you go to work out? When you're making dinner, how long does it take you to make dinner? When you sit down to eat, like plan all of that time out. How many hours are you scrolling on the internet? How much time are you watching TV? How much time are you sitting and thinking about doing the things you should be doing instead of just doing the things you should be doing? That is a big one. So just track it, like become aware of what you're doing in your week, because the other side of that is we'll make a to-do list full of 20 things that day and we don't have enough time in the day to get there. So then we almost shut down, right? And you just go, forget it, I'm not going to do any of it because I don't even know how I'm going to achieve any of this. Start small. So make a master to-do list, but pick like 3 things that you can do every single day and put those into your time block. Put those into the areas throughout your day where you can actually get that stuff done, instead of going, oh, I have a list of 20 things to do, there's no way I can possibly do it, and then you waste an entire day. So something that I'll share, and this is something that helped me. I've moved on to a different planner now, but the planner that I moved on to takes a little bit more time. This one is set up really well, and it's specifically for Beachbody coaches. So if you're looking for time blocking, this is the Rise Up Planner. It is from Moira Kusaba. She is a Beachbody coach, and she designed this specifically for Beachbody coaches. And when you're talking about time blocking, I will show you an example of a week that I had time blocked really well. It's the other things, you have to make time to time block, but it's totally worth it. So here is an example of a week. So this is basically just any planner can do this. Any planner that is broken down by the hour. Okay, so you need your week broken down by the hour. This is how this works. So everything in here is color coded, and that for me is based off of my personal time. Meals are a different color. Business is blue because it's Beachbody, and then family. And those are kind of the 4 areas that I have. So I would put in all the things that I have to do that week. So in this, it doesn't even matter what the things are, but you have all your hours on the side and you have your days of the week at the top. You fill in your week with your non-negotiables. What are the things you have to do? Well, we know that we work out every day, so plan time to work out. We know that we have to make meals for our family, so schedule time to make the meal prep the meal, eat the meal. Don't just give yourself a half an hour and then you're an hour and a half in the kitchen going, crap, like I'm supposed to be moving on to something else now. Give yourself the time that it needs for that. Plan in your family time. I think there was something really profound that Jay Shetty said at the leadership conference. And it was like, I like instantly it sunk in for me. And he was like, time blocking is great and knowing where your time is, but sometimes we feel like we need to give more time to people when in fact, we just need to give them our energy. Your energy spent full focus, fully present with your children for 30 minutes is much more effective and much more well received from your family than 3 hours of unplugging or 3 hours of being with your family, but not unplugging. And you're on your phone and you're scrolling or you're watching TV or you're doing something else and you're not really paying attention to them. People want energy. This business takes energy. So, yes, we all want more time. We all want to have more time in our day. And people are always asking for more time. But if you really look at it and you really consider it, they really want your energy. A 10-minute conversation with somebody can be just as effective as an hour-long conversation with somebody when that hour is full of gossiping and judgment and complaining and negativity and whining versus a 10-minute like heart-to-heart connection. How can I help you? Let's move forward. That's the type of energy that people need. And so consider that when you're time blocking. Like think of that with your family. So anyways, back to my time blocking. That was like a whole side tangent there. But what I do is I actually take the business activity tracker and I find the hours in my day that I'm going to work my business. And I think when it comes to time blocking, this is the thing that everybody wants to know. How do you find the time in your day to run your business, right? So you have to allow, okay, what is your non-negotiable? Are you an hour a day? Are you 2 hours a day? Are you 4 hours a day? Like what's your non-negotiable for your day and block out your time. That could be a half an hour after you work out. Maybe that's a pocket of time. It could be a half an hour on your lunch. It could be 2 hours at nighttime. Whenever it is for you, that's when you're going to block out your time. And then you're going to take this business activity tracker and you're just going to plop in each of these activities in the time that you have for your business. So for example, number 3, I love doing this one because it is getting people results in your challenge group. I love doing that one in the morning and I kind of tack it on with my workout. So after I'm done my workout, I'm already checking in with my group anyways. So I spend an extra 15 minutes and I go through, make sure there's no questions, see what's going on in there, congratulate people, cheer people on. Like I put all of that right in with my workout and it feels really seamless for me. Then I really time out, I block out all the next things. So if I know from 11 to 12, I've got time, I'm going to do 20 minutes of initiating connections. I'm going to do 20 minutes of inviting and 20 minutes of follow-up. So set the time, like what are you going to do in that time period? And then actually do that thing. So and I write it down. I get really granular in my calendar when I write it down. And I say like at 11 a.m., I'm inviting. At 11:20, I'm following up. Instead of just going, I'm going to have a power hour at 11. Some people need that freedom and that's okay. I think it's totally dependent on like how you work and what you need to do. But for me, I need the guidance. I need the like, if you find yourself, you sit down at 7 p.m. and you end up scrolling, you're probably somebody who's a bit more like me where you need, okay, no. I can't just say I'm doing a power hour right now because that doesn't guide me anywhere. I need to know that I'm writing a post right now. And that's the thing that I'm going to do. Or that could totally stress you out and freak you out and feel like you're way too restricted, like Shorty. And you could just need, okay, no, from 7 to 8, this is my family time. And from 8 to 9, this is my business time. And I just know I'm going to sit down on my computer and I'm just going to work through the sheet wherever I left off yesterday. I'm going to continue today. And you just kind of like move forward. But essentially, whatever time you're blocking in your day, you're then filling in that time with your business activity tracker. This is what you need to do in your business every single day, as much as possible. And if you don't get to it on one day, then you just pick up where you left off. The thing you didn't do yesterday, you're going to start there today. And then you're going to continually keep doing that. The thing with that is that you start getting faster. Like over the course of time, you start figuring out what works really well. And it might take you an hour to write a post right now. And you're like, takes me an hour to write a post, takes me an hour to work out, it takes me an hour to put up all my stories for the day. I have 3 hours on my business and I haven't even talked to a single soul. And if that's you, that's okay. Know that we all start there. Like literally, we all start there. I think it used to take me like 2.5 hours to write posts sometimes because I would edit it and then I would go back and then it would take me another half an hour just to hit post on it because I was freaking out. But that will take time just to like bring it in and you'll get more comfortable with your voice, but that comes with consistency. So the more you post, the easier it becomes. The more you post, the more you have to talk about. And I know that that might seem backwards, but honestly, the days where like I haven't been posting or I haven't been creating content, those are the days where I'm like, shoot, what do I talk about? Like, I don't even know what to say. And the days where I'm really consistent with posting, I could put up 4 or 5 posts some days because you get in the zone, right? So you will get faster at the activities. I promise you that. But just make sure you go through each of them and you don't stick with just the same ones. If you find you're only posting, getting your workout done, and putting up a couple stories and doing nothing else tomorrow, I want you to do everything but that. Like, I want you to do all the things that you haven't done for 2 weeks or 2 days or however long it's been. I want you to do the things, start there, because that is where you're going to move the needle on your business, especially if you're feeling stuck. Another thing that I love is I have a timer cube. I got this off Amazon. And so anytime that I'm sitting down to do work, I can just flip it onto whatever minute I need. So if I said, okay, I'm going to set 15 minutes for inviting, I can set it to 15 minutes. Then when the timer goes off, I can go. You can just use your watch. Geez, now it's on for 20 minutes. You can just use your watch or your phone or whatever you want, but that helps me to like stay on track. Time blocking for me was something that I didn't like, honestly, I didn't love in the beginning, but it has been so helpful just to make sure I get through this whole business activity tracker in a day. So find yourself a planner. Doesn't have to be this one. It can be anyone, but find yourself a planner and work through it. You're going to find that there's weeks where it feels really good. And you're going to find there's weeks where you're like, oh, I didn't really love how I time blocked that week. Adjust. You're going to just have to figure it out based on the type of person that you are, how you work best, and what you know you do and what you know you avoid. Because we all avoid something in the business. So I encourage you to do the thing that you avoid first. Yes, Shorty, good point. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I have to unmute myself. I'm just pushing buttons over here. I don't even know what buttons I'm pushing. It's the kind of day I've had. So days like today, this is why I have to not be like Shalene and have everything like planned out, because my days are always all over the map. With work and the kids, I had things thrown at me today that I was like, yeah, okay, sure. So if I feel really restricted, I shut down completely, and I'm like, but that's not, I was supposed to be doing this specific task at this specific time. So for me, I can't be that specific. But I've also been doing this a while, and I've gotten really, when I sit down to do work, like I sit down to do work. And so one of those things means if I feel like, and it happens, if I feel like I just keep getting drawn to that little ping when my phone goes off, I have to turn my notifications off. And I don't know if it was somebody taught me how to turn notifications off on my computer on Facebook. Cause like every time I would try to do work, the chat little box thing, I'm very technical, can you tell that? Pops up, and it was driving me crazy because it distracted me every time. And Shalene taught me how to turn that off. So if you don't know how, there's like 3 little buttons at the top. They're the magical 3 little dots at the top that give you all this other information. And you're like, oh my goodness, why did I never click on that before? That has been a godsend for me if I feel like I'm just not focused enough. Because if I'm not focused enough, I'm not super intentional. I'm just checking boxes for the sake of checking the boxes. So turning off your notifications, or even the volume on your phone, if it's the little ping that gets you distracted, turn that off. If anybody has a tip on turning the volume button off your children, please share that with me, because that would be like amazing. Cause yeah, I can't do that yet. Or your boss, if I could shut
$1 million
the call.
idea right there.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Like, you know, I need that movie Click, like where he clicks a button. Anyway. So yeah, turning off notifications is really good in terms of staying focused when you've blocked your time. And if I can just like add to Shalene's, like I used to pride myself on being super organized and not ever having to like have a schedule or break things down. But as you add stuff to your life, as you get busier, as you add a business into all of your already busy lives, blocking out time to do stuff is so key. Even if for whatever reason, like it shifts, you have to be okay and adaptable with that shift. But really having it kind of laid out and letting that be the first thing you look at in the morning, because like there's no point blocking your time if you're not ever going to open that book. You have to, that has to be the first thing that you look at. And then I agree with Shalene, do the hard stuff first and leave for the end of the day the things that light up your soul, because then you're going to go to bed in a really good mood and then you're going to get up in a really good mood. But if you leave all the hard things, like if you look at your time blocker and you're like, damn, I didn't do any invites today, and you're trying to fit them in at 10 o'clock at night before you go to bed, that's the energy you're going to go to bed with, and that's the energy you're going to wake up with. So really try to do the hard things first. And I had to shift that. Like I was getting up, being at home, and I was trying to do both jobs throughout the day. And I was doing my Beachbody stuff first because I was just so excited to get it done. And I'm like, oh, this stuff I like, I'm going to do this first. And then my afternoon, I lost so much energy. And then I had nothing for my kids. Like I was miserable and like it sucked. And then if I couldn't get everything done in the morning for my Beachbody stuff, I had to go back to it, but I didn't want to because I'm like, I'm already drained. So I shifted and I do the stuff that I hate first, also known as my full-time job. I do that first now and I get it out of the way. And then I finish off my day with my Beachbody stuff. And I see it sitting there and it stresses me out because I'm like, I really just want to do invites right now. But I've really been honoring it this specifically over the last 2 weeks, and it's really benefited me. So really think about that and where you like strategically block your time in a way that's going to protect your energy and your peace, because that's huge.
Yeah, I love those tips. And something else that I want you guys to consider when you are looking at time blocking, it is for sure the planner. Marie, I love that you're like, yes, I need the planner, got to do that. For me, I take what's in my planner. I'm visual, and like I just need to write it out to like get energy from like pen to paper. I got to write it out. And then I do put it into my Google Calendar as well. So Danielle, I'm very much the same where like I just map it out on paper and then I add in the really important things into my Google Calendar. So I'm getting those notifications. And then from there, it's simple, right? Because now you're getting that guidance. And on the days where maybe you don't feel like it, or you're dragging your butt doing one thing to the next, you have that notification that just like prompts you to move on to the next task. Okay, let's go, pick it up, next thing, right? I was gonna say something else on that and it's totally lost my brain. Oh, communication. Okay, so once you do this, if you are like me, you become obsessed with this business and you're not looking for the minimal amount of time that you can work your business in a day. You're looking for the maximum amount of time that you can work your business in a day. And sometimes you got to pull that back a little bit. And you also need to communicate that to your family. If you're going all in and you have big goals, sometimes we have seasons where we're like in a big push and we've got to go. And it's like head down. I don't have time to say yes to parties and Netflix and movies and extra time with the family. I have to be with my work. And then there's other times where I can like take my foot off the pedal and I can enjoy life a little bit more, right? But there are seasons where we have that push. And I just think communication's really key. Give your significant other, give your family access to your calendar. Like, let them be able to see what you're doing that week. Communicate on the weekends, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Here's what I have happening this week. We've got to take care of the kids. Okay, who's taking who, where? Like, we don't both have to be sitting watching them at practice or at dance. Like, one of us can go because I'm working towards something really big. And what is it that you're working towards? Your family is more likely to understand why you're taking time to invest into your business when you communicate what it is that you're working for, rather than just picking up your phone every second that you can pick it up and they think you're just scrolling social media. That causes resentment. That causes conflict. That is frustrating as heck. And you're like, they just don't get it. They don't support me. And then it causes friction within your relationship, right? Or within the family or whoever it is that even you're living with. It causes that friction. So communication is literally everything. Okay. Um, have the planner intentionally open for your family to see that you're busy. I love that. So those are some of the big things with time blocking and some of my recommendations. It took me a while. Like, I failed a gazillion weeks over and over and over again. I'm going to say it took me like 2 months to like really figure out what worked for me for time blocking. And it just took trial and error. So take that time to have that trial and error. The last thing that I'll say on this is when you are time blocking out your weeks, consider your month. So if you feel like you need 3 hours of like project time, meaning you're going to schedule your posts out for your challenge group, you're going to think about the content that you're going to create, you're going to go take 20 pictures so you actually have pictures to post up on social media instead of having a great post and then be like, well, can't post that because I don't even have a good picture today to go with that. That happens all the time. Sometimes you need some of that, right? And it's okay to take an hour or 2 hours on a weekend and not do any of this, but to really make sure that you're set up for success. What's the invite you're going to send out? Have it ready. Have it saved in the note section of your phone so that you can like use it as a base to send it out to people. Who are you inviting? Maybe you're the type of person who works better from a list. I do. If I sit down for 20 minutes to go invite and I don't have a list, I don't invite. I randomly look for people on the internet and I'm like, this is so counterproductive right now. Like, I want to be inviting, I just don't know who to invite. But if I take an hour on Saturday or Sunday and I make a list of 50 people, every time I go to invite, I'm really productive with my time because I'm inviting the people off the list and it's a no brainer. It's really easy to go and invite now instead of looking for everyone that I need to invite in the time I'm supposed to be inviting. So think about the thing. This is different for everyone, and I could give you 5,000 different scenarios, but think about the thing that holds you back. What holds you back when you go to work? This business specifically, right? Is it that you don't know who to invite? Is that you don't know how to make connections? Is that you don't have good pictures? Is that you don't have anything to write about? Is it that you like, what is it? What is the thing that's really holding you back from doing the work in the moment that you say you're going to do it? And that becomes your project time. So on the weekend or on a Monday morning or whenever you're going to time block that time out as your project time so that it's done. If you stress, I've heard this a bunch of times, there are people who stress every single morning to get your challenge group post up for everyone to check in, like their sweaty selfies. Schedule it out on Facebook. I literally had a conversation with a coach like 2 weeks ago on our team that had no idea that I was doing that. They thought I was up every single morning at 6 a.m. and like getting that posted. And they were like, how are you that consistent? And I'm like, no. That does not happen. But I've been there and I've done that. I used to like steal the posts from Kim's group when I first became a coach. And I was like, how is she getting up every single day and writing all of this in massive content and like getting it up there? Like, I don't even understand. No, she schedules it out at the beginning of the month for the entire month and then she's done with it. And now it's easy. You check in your selfie, like, comment, done, boom, next. So think about some of that stuff. Like, what is it that's stressing you out during the day? Reach out to your PS coach and let us help you with some of those tips and tricks on how we have like overcome the thing that is like super stressful and taking up way more time and energy in your day than it even needs to. I'm not looking at the chat, but I think we're good. Anybody have questions on that before we move over to some objections? You can just unmute yourself or you can pop it in the chat, whatever works easiest for you guys. And you can schedule in bod groups too. We cannot forget about bod groups. The bod groups queen is on our call. We must include bod groups and everything. I'm moving, I'm switching, I'm making the move, you guys. January, I'm adding a bod group. Okay, perfect, I love it. Yes, drive us nuts. We all need to be on board with bod groups. Okay, time blocking. So that's time blocking, and try it this week. If you guys are like, you can't figure it out, just lean into the chats, ask us what's going on, and we'll help you to tweak it. But I think that was good conversation. I think that, thank you for whoever brought that up in the chat, because that was needed. Okay, objections. Let's just do real time. I could name off a bunch of objections that you're going to get, and I could go through 1,000 different scenarios. Let's work for the next 15 minutes on like real objections that you guys have actually just received in the past little while that are more relevant than me just like randomly saying the same things, like don't have time, don't have money, can't commit, I'm not ready. Those are the common ones. And if those are what you're getting, then great, we'll work through those. But what's an objection that you received this week? Anyone? Yeah.
I have one. So I was talking to someone who is really excited to like join our challenge group, like has trusted me as a coach. And literally after walking through all the options, showing the value, literally was like, oh my God, I would love to join you. I would love to work with you. Like, I think you could help me, but MLM, and it drove me insane because I mean, we all know that our products are amazing. Our programs are legit. And I'm trying to figure out, like, I want to talk about it and I want to like make it as a post without sounding very rude or like I get in my mode where I'm like talking in the shower and I'm like getting all saucy and I'm like, okay, how do I make this relevant and like make this relatable without sounding condescending or just rude? So that is definitely one that I had come up this week that I was trying to really work through.
I want sassy Danielle to come out, and we need some of the fire. Let that personality shine. Don't try and make it perfect. Honestly, don't try and make the response. Hit the objection with how you truly feel. You are so passionate about this business, that needs to shine through more than trying to not offend somebody by a post. Okay. So like whatever you said in that shower, I would turn on, like I would voice record yourself and just like let it go and then make sure it makes sense, obviously, but then pull it together and put it into a post, because I think that needs to shine through. I've done MLM posts in the past. I do them often because I've been a part of a bunch and I've been there, and I have the objection of people are like, oh, network marketing. And you're like, what? I don't get it. You're like, what about it? And just,
I was confused because I was like, wait, I didn't even invite you to coaching. First of all, I invited you to like get a product and get the program. Like I've heard this too, like, oh, I'd rather support you as a small business, but I don't want to support a big company. And I'm like, that's fine. I'll charge you $60+ an hour session like I normally do. I'll give you the same program because it's literally what I would write. So your choice, 160 for the year or 160 for the month, like for 4 hours. Go ahead.
So and give them that option. Hey, maybe
that's my sauciness. That's what I want to say.
Do it. Okay, here's the thing. Everyone says something because of a past experience, right? Everyone has a belief system. Everyone has a belief about everything. You have a belief about this team. You have belief in yourself. You have belief in the people around you. You have belief in whether or not you like, I don't know, blue diamond frying pans. Like you have a belief in things. Do they work or do they not? What was your experience with them in the past? Was it positive or was it negative? Your belief system is based on the experience you had with that thing in the past and the people that you surround yourself with and their belief system about that same thing. That's why we surround ourselves with incredible people in our community when we're trying to work on our health and wellness, because we've failed time and time again because we surround ourselves with people who don't put their health and wellness as a priority, which gets us stuck over and over and over again. Again, belief system, right? So most of the time when you're getting an objection, especially one that is about, oh, it's MLM or, oh, you're just trying to scam me. They could have been scammed in the past. Like legit, they probably had a really negative experience. And unfortunately, there are very unprofessional network marketers that are in our industry maybe not Beachbody, but across the industry as a whole, that really give a bad name. It's our job to give it a good name. Let's create an incredible team of people who are just going to give it a really good name. And so I think it's important to just ask more questions, like, yeah, it's an MLM. Is that bad? Like, don't assume it's good or bad. We know that it's probably bad, but like allow them the opportunity to explain, like, oh, have you had a bad experience in the past? Like, tell me more about that. And let them be able to be open about it. I literally had someone go off the rails one time because they found out that one of my challenge groups was MLM and I hadn't even invited them. Like, they just totally came at me and I was like, whoa, what is going on? And by the end of it, she messaged me back and she just said, I'm really sorry. I was a complete asshole to you and that was not warranted whatsoever. And you seem like a really nice human being and I was just burned in the past. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad I had that conversation with you. And sometimes the conversation is hard because we take it like really personally, but oftentimes it's just coming from, where they've been. So one, anytime you get an objection, Danielle made a really good point of to create a post about the objection that you're getting, right? That's massive. That's content all day long. That's content because if one person says it to you, 10 other people are thinking it. Right? So it's really important to take that as like, okay, this is like perfect. This is what I need from my audience. This is what people are thinking. I'm going to speak to it on my belief system and why it works for me. So I love that. And we need some sass from you. We need some sass. I want to see it.
Yeah, Danielle, I find too, like when I voice note people back, so I usually will do a post about it if I've had one that really like boils me, but whenever I've had those like hit hard objections that I just want to like, no, thank you, I'll DM them back. And I've had people say to me, oh, I can really hear how passionate you are about it, because they can hear it in your voice. And I mean, I do it in a professional way, but I am a bit sassy about it. And I've said to people in my voice notes back, I'm not going to apologize for inviting you. Like, I'm not going to apologize for it because I know what it's done for me. But I relate it back to my experience because I used to be that girl that judged all the MLMs, but it was based on my upbringing. It was based on what my dad thought about them because my aunt and uncle did an MLM. And all we ever heard was how they scammed everybody and how they were never going to make any money. But my parents were very materialistic. It was all about, you have to be a lawyer or a doctor, hence lawyer, but like you have to have this big job that gives you big money. And that's all I knew growing up. So without even any experience at all with an MLM, I was judging them. And I think that that's what a lot of people do. So I relate it back. I relate it back and say, yep, guilty. I used to do that too. But
Yeah.
here's what I've found.
So that's what I was going to say. That's like the feel, felt, found method, right? I feel you. I totally get it. I totally understand where you're coming from. This is for any objection. I felt that way too. I used to think I didn't have time to run this business. I used to think I didn't have time to work out. But you know what? I actually didn't have time because the thing that I was doing didn't work. I was trying to get 3 kids out the door to the gym. Like, it took me 2.5 hours. Yeah, I didn't have 2.5 hours. But what I found is these workouts are really awesome because they're only 30 minutes and I can do them at home and the kids are crawling all over me. So I don't have to worry about that time of like getting to the gym. And it's worked so beautifully well. When you start doing that method, that's when people are like, oh, and they can see it in your story. And if you've never experienced the thing that they're giving you an objection with, that's when you pop it into the chat and someone on this team has experienced it and you can pull and be like, oh, you know what? Shorty on our team, Danielle on our team, Marisol on our team, she went through this exact same thing. You know what she told me? She said that she found, and then you can like fill in the blank, right? There's a ton in the chat here. Okay, let's try and get through some of these. Kaylee said, people are using other online stuff. Okay, love that one. It's an objection I used to get all the time. I speak to it because I used to use YouTube videos all the time to try and get workouts in, and I didn't have community. So speak to the community, and they don't have you to guide, right? They just have, it's just plug and play. It's just like buying a DVD and then you get nothing with it. There's zero support whatsoever. And I think too, it's just believing in the product that we have, the workouts that we actually have are really, really good, right? So believe in that too. And at the end of the day, some people prefer other ways, or the community isn't really the thing that drives them. But I would speak to community, I would speak to nutrition, I would speak to the meditations, speak to more than just the workout aspect. Trish said something about time, having more time than you do since you're a stay-at-home mom. Yeah. So, I mean, I think for me, whenever someone brings it back to, that's because they want to be a stay-at-home mom. Usually when someone gives you an objection, it's because they want the thing that you have, especially if they're pulling you into it, right? So explore that. Explore what's going on there, like, why don't you feel like you have time? Why do they want results? If they're talking to you, they're probably interested, or they would have just been like, they would have ghosted you, never said anything, or they would have just been flat out, no, I've got something that's working really well for me. Thank you. But if they're wording it in a way that you're kind of like, oh, well, why is this? How did this become about me? Like, what's going on here? It's because they kind of see themselves in you, but they just can't see it for themselves. Like, they can't see it for their life the way that they're living it. So ask them, break down their day and be like, cool, I know you don't have a ton of time. Transform 20, it's 20 minutes a day. I can totally help you. If you've got 20 minutes, that is like literally come home from work, get 20-minute workout in, and then make dinner. Put the kids to bed, do 20 minutes and go to bed. Wake up 20 minutes earlier. Like, there's so many things where you can help them with a little bit of time, but just dig in to really find out their why. Like, why do they want this change for themselves? And then they're likely to make the time, to find the time. We all find the time for the things that we actually want to do, right? You keep getting ghosted. Okay. So when you keep getting ghosted, oftentimes for me, this is because I haven't made enough of a connection with the person that I'm being ghosted by. Or they really want, if they're someone who keeps watching you and they're still ghosting you, because I get this often. I have people who've watched my stories for like a year and will not answer a DM that I sent them. I've sent them like 25 DMs and they will not respond back to me. It's usually because they're just really afraid. Like, there's usually fear that's there. So offer something free value. This is what I love to do in a follow-up. So if I'm being ghosted, they're not answering anything to do with the challenge group, I either deposit it, think of it as like a bank account, right? You have to deposit into their relationship so many times before you can withdraw. And so if you're not withdrawing because they're like, no, you haven't built this trust yet. Like, I don't fully trust you. I don't know that you can actually get me the results that I'm looking for. You have to deposit more in. So free meditation, send them a free week meal plan, send them a cool recipe, invite them to one of your free groups because you do the free groups. If they've been a part of all of that, like, just dig in a little bit about what you could help them out with and what area they need help with without asking for a transaction of any sort, and just keep depositing into that relationship with them. If they're still watching you and liking and commenting, continue on doing that. If you've invited them and they like unfollowed you, or they're not liking or commenting or watching any of your stuff, then I just let that go. I'm like, okay, moving on, finding new connections. I probably get ghosted by about 100 people a week though. Like, it's a lot. It's a high number. I think for the most part, people would say that it's a really high number. And not to say that you don't ever have the conversation with them again, because you will, especially if they're still following you. It's not really my style of working out. Oh, guys. Okay. Do show a guy program. So this is Jer. He switched over to Body Beast. He started doing that one a lot, recommending Body Beast, recommending Lift 4 and 10 rounds. Those are really the programs that he spoke to. Jewel. Those are the programs that he spoke to and he speaks to often. The other side of it is he doesn't really put the guys in the accountability group anymore, because the guys really, I don't know, you guys are weird. Not a lot of the guys love the accountability group, but they do love a chat. So if you start like just a chat instead of having the group where like the girls are in the group and maybe the guys are in a chat, you can do that. Jer is going to have a chat with the guys. So like, you guys, even within this team, you could all be together, and there's not as many guys. But yeah, that's a big one. And I think it's just showing them some of the free workouts, or like showing them what it looks like. And like if they're gym rats, those are the programs that they want for sure.
Body Beast if they're gym rats.
Yeah, Jared says Body Beast for sure. If they're like gym rats, then Body Beast for sure.
That topic's actually been brought up amongst our coaches too, like having more male coach calls and like what is coaching again, like kind of sprinkling that in a little bit, because I know that there have been a few of us that have been trying to invite even the male counterparts and whatnot. When they hop on a call with all girls, they're kind of intimidated or unease, and you know what I'm saying.
It's not relatable, right? Like they just don't relate because they're like, what are we talking? It's not about motherhood again. Why are we talking about being pregnant again? So I totally get it. And like, yeah, let's do a guy call. Let's set one up for the next couple of weeks and we can all invite to it. And then the guys can do it. I loved how we did the interview style with when we did one for all the fitness trainers. So we can do it like that again. And we can do like an interview style. I think it'd be really good. Okay. What else is there? I'm just going through the chat. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. I used another online platform too before. No modifications. That's really good to know. Community, good. Nutrition. Yeah, guys, like think about everything we have. We're more than workouts, right? So anytime you get an objection, it's way more than just the workouts. Anything else? Top knots. Yes, Marie, the guys want to know how to do the top knots.
I'll give a good one that I sometimes get is, yeah, do I have to get the shakes? I don't do shakes. I get that one a lot.
What's your response? Do you have a good one?
Well, I don't know if it's a good one, but I basically will ask questions. Which ones have you used? Which ones have you tried? And then that allows me to kind of compare what we have to what they have, because most of them are like those gross protein only shakes that sometimes have way too much sugar in them or way too much protein content. Like you should be eating whole foods, guys, not stocking your protein in a shake. So I kind of will go down that road just to see if there's any sort of comparison that I can make to whatever it is that they've used in the past. I ask them what they mix it with, because a lot of people are just like, oh, I just add my water. And so I will talk about kind of what I put in mine. And if it's just kind of going nowhere, I'm always like, oh, do you have a really good pre and post workout that you use? Because then I can flip them. Like you can't change somebody's mind about stuff. So I'll flip them, because if they're like, oh no, I was looking into that, or, oh, I've never thought about that, then I can just shift them to kind of a different option. But that's kind of what I do.
And think of this too. So sometimes I find when we get into objections, especially when it comes to like, I don't do shakes or it's too expensive. Sometimes we can fall into the trap of like, trying to explain to them, oh, well, it's just the cost of a Starbucks coffee, or, oh, it would be just like this. And we relate it to money. Okay, if I tell you as a woman, okay, I'm speaking to the girls here. If I tell you as a woman, anything to do with money, how receptive are you to me telling you not to spend the money on the thing you really love? You're like, no, screw you. I'm going to get this Starbucks. Like, I don't care. I'm spending my money over here. The thing that I've really learned is that women are about feeling, guys are about money and numbers. For the most part, I'm generalizing. But if you use that rationalization about the coffee, the Tim Hortons, the Starbucks, everything else with a guy, they're more likely to be like, oh yeah, that's so right. I could totally save on the budget and just do this swap. Like I'm down, sign me up, right? But with a girl, they're more likely to go, no, like I don't care. That I love that. Don't take the thing I love away from me. When you go with these shakes, honestly, give me so much energy and have totally helped with my digestive health. I'm an undereater. I do not eat enough food and I know I don't. And once I started having these shakes, all of a sudden I started having all this energy because the shakes were actually giving me energy because now I was eating. And it actually made me a little bit more hungry in the day. So I was noticing that I was actually eating what I was supposed to eat instead of not eating anything all day, running for the sugary stuff, and then feeling like garbage the next day and feeling really guilty and emotional because all I did was eat all the sugary stuff. Like, that's a response that a woman can relate to, right? When you're like, okay, this is how I felt again, back to Shorty's point of like the feel, felt, found method, right? Relate it into a feeling that you can get by drinking the shakes, a feeling that you get with Energize. We're really good with the Energize. We're really good about talking about the feeling we get with Energize. Start sharing more on your stories. And all these objections are things that we need to talk about more in our stories, more in our posts. Start sharing more about the feeling that you have with Shakeology. My immunity's up. I feel great. I don't get as sick as often. I can't say it cures anything. Like, we can't say it's going to cure anything, but I know for a fact that since I've been taking Shakeology, I have felt my best, and I can feel the difference when I don't take it for a couple days in a row. Like, I totally feel the difference. So go with that. Yeah, and then you tell them, and you sign up as a VIP member, and you can tell your husband you get a 25% discount. They're gonna be like, oh, perfect, thank you, I need that. um
I would even add too, like, don't forget to like also talk about with your clients. I feel like we're trying to do a little bit better at that in our Stronger Together group, like talking about it with a lot of people who are bot only or fell off. I get a lot of my clients telling me like, oh, I need more energy. How do you have so much energy? And we're so quick to doing Energize, but like Shalene said, like, when you feel good, when you nourish your body, you're gonna have more energy, like she said. So it's not even Energize half the time, although we love it. It's
and
just
you feel it immediately, right?
true.
Yeah,
But I think like we said on our nutrition call one time, we're not caffeine deficient, we're nourishment deficient, right? So
yeah,
it really, when you feel good, you're going to show up for your workouts and you're going to be consistent. So that's kind of what I've talked to my clients about, trying
yeah.
to get them to believe in the value behind it.
I love that. And Kaylee, to your point with IBS, if Jared's off his shakes for 4 or 5 days, totally different human being. And like, it's insane. And we can't make those claims, but you can speak to it and talk about how the nutrition programs and having this amazing nutritional supplement is really helping to fill in those gaps with your nutrition, right? And helping you feel good. I mean, there's a lot of people in this world who literally can't be more than like 10 feet from a bathroom at all times. Like, it's a real thing for a lot of people. And to be able to be like, okay, let's talk nutrition, let's talk overall health. Like, it's more than just the workouts, right? It helps so many people in so many ways.
And if you have Zac Efron lovers or people who have watched Down to Earth,
Oh my
like,
God,
did Darren Olian create the Vega shakes? Because I bet you he didn't. So if you have people that are like into that, I've used that recently. When I got like a price objection, and the video, there's a video, guys, if you haven't seen it, I think Shalene posted it in her group. I'm pretty sure I posted it in mine. But it's basically Carl talking to basically the guy who tests all the stuff that goes into Shakeology and all the other products. And if you haven't watched the video, he talks about how all these other companies are taking shortcuts. Like, they're basically getting the knockoff version of these superfoods and putting it in their shakes. That's why they can make it cheaper, but you're not getting the nutritional value of what is in there because it's not actually what they're saying it is. It's the knockoff version. So if you're okay with the knockoff version and paying your money for nothing, go for it. Or you can actually pay for what you're actually getting and get the effects of it, right? Like, if you're just drinking a shake for the sake of drinking a shake, then go buy your Vega. But if you want the actual benefits from it, then spend your money. If you don't want your clothes to rip in 3 days, go to Walmart. If like, if you don't care, go to Walmart. But if you want something that's going to last you, you're going to get a product that costs a little bit more money, but it's going to last you longer.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I think that it's just important for us to understand, like, it's not personal, right? Objections are not personal. It's really where the person is at. And let's help meet them where they're at, regardless of what the objection is. Let's help share from experience. Let's pull from the team and like share these conversations because they're so powerful. Screenshot them, put them in the chats. They're so helpful, especially for newer coaches, to navigate through the conversation and what that looks like and normalize the objections. We got to go, you guys. We've got 1 minute. We got to go live in the coaching opportunity. So Fam Jam Coach 411, we are going to go live with Danielle and Becca. I'm so excited. This is Becca's first coach opportunity call. So come on over and support her. She's like, no, don't call me out. So we're going to go over there and we're going to stream it live into the Facebook group. So you can catch it live over there. It will be up for like a while. So tag all your coaches over in that group. Okay. Bye guys. Thanks for showing up tonight.